Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and master certified life coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, welcome back to the podcast, Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your master certified coach and midlife mentor. And once again, I'm so glad to be here with you for this week's episode, which is about why thinking about what you should do in midlife keeps you stuck. Okay, I can't even tell you how much this is coming up lately. Even more than usual. It's mean girl time, my friend. We're going to take a look at this type of thinking, why it keeps you stuck, and what you can do about it. So, if this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm so glad you found us, and I look forward to hearing more from you as we get to know each other through the podcast. If you're regular, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here, and I love that you come to Women in the Middle to learn some cool stuff. So, how are you doing, my friend? Is the reality of what's going on in our upside-down world starting to set in? That's how it is for me. Realization after realization. First, it's the daily life stuff, which we're all slowly but surely getting a handle on. And then, day by day, the implications for the next few months are also starting to become more clear. Having kids who are supposed to go back to university is a big unknown for many. Sign the lease? Don't sign the lease. Time to cancel summer plans? Time to wait a little bit longer and see what happens. So much going on, and how far into the future should you cancel things? I have something on the books for November in Rhode Island, and I've got no clue if that will happen or not. Is that happening to you too? Haven't heard yet. Don't know what is going on. I hear you. I'm with you. It is a lot. But one thing's for sure, managing your mind is a tool that actually helps. And of course, that is what we're talking about today. So as a listener of the podcast, I hope you are starting to see the subtle shifts going on in your brain about your perspective on life, on possibility, on your ability to empower yourself, about your emotional well-being. Yes, it takes time, but it'll happen for you. I get the most beautiful emails and reviews on iTunes sharing all kinds of personal stories. And that reminds me, if you haven't done so yet, I would be most appreciative of a 5-star review and perhaps a few kind words about how the podcast is adding value to the way you're navigating midlife. It really helps other amazing women in the middle find the podcast and benefit as well. So thank you so much in advance. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, I just wanted to check in with y'all about how you're doing. Even though I don't know you personally, I'm thinking about you collectively, and I really wish I could give you a big hug, a nice big social isolation type of hug. So virtual will have to do. Consider yourself squeezed with love. I also want to share that now is the time to get your butt into gear if you're ready to put your money where your mouth is when it comes to actually making a change. Applications for the 50 Unplugged Mastermind are open. Why is this an amazing time to join? Because you won't have to wait too long for our amazing virtual retreat in July. That's only one reason. There are many. But let me tell you why the 50 Unplugged Mastermind is probably perfect for you. You might have figured out that feeling tired of being stuck and confused about what you want to do going forward kind of sucks. It feels like a big frustrating waste of time. And as you know, time is a big deal now and too precious to waste. And you might feel like it's not the right time for you to be thinking about your future with all the uncertainty and everything. But my friend, I actually think it's an amazing time for you to be thinking about your future on purpose. Dreams, ideas, plans, it all starts with your mind and learning how to make this kind of thinking a priority for you. If you don't prioritize the thinking part, nobody will. And more valuable time will just fly by. The 50 Unplugged Mastermind is really the best way to work together to help you focus on what you can do with your next chapter instead of what you like to think about, which is what you can't do. what you're running out of time to do, what's not possible for you anymore. And it's with an intimate group of women who are ready to make a serious commitment to themselves to work on creating a big personal transformation over the course of a year and finally be crystal clear and excited about what they want. This is pretty powerful stuff. It's really all about becoming bold and brave in midlife. It's about up-leveling. It's about getting out of your own way finally so that you're more comfortable and intentional about allowing yourself to be happier, which is a super common regret of many. The thing is that there is a cost to staying stuck. You probably sense it. So if you're ready to roll and do some serious but fun work on yourself to finally move that dial forward on your next chapter, look no farther. Head right over to www.talktosusie.com and grab your Kickstart call so we can talk about if this mastermind is a good fit for you. Okay, let's dive into today's topic, which is why thinking about what you should do in midlife keeps you stuck and what you can do about it. I won't leave you hanging, my friend. I would not do that. So, think about how you think for a few minutes. Think about when you get up in the morning and what's on your mind. Think about your to-do list. Think about your plans and what's in your calendar. Think about what you say when somebody asks you how your day is going. Taking a look at the little slice of life, like the examples I've given, will give you a hint about what we're talking about today. The big should. What you think you should be doing that you're not doing. In other words, how you're not measuring up on a daily basis. Nice, right? Your mean girl is for sure setting up shop in your brain. That is no way to be the queen of your brain domain. When you're the queen, you're in charge. You rule, like you rule over your subjects. But this subject is you. It looks like you just opened the door and embraced your mean girl. Come on in, you said. Take a look around. Make yourself at home. Was that you? I'm hearing mean girl thoughts from so many of you right now. I'm thinking about them in two broad categories, basically the here and now and the future. They're similar, but different. Let's start with the here and now. It's this kind of thing. Thoughts about your weight and your food consumption, about how you should be doing better than you're doing, especially when one of your sons is baking just about every day. That's what's happening here. Makes it a little trickier than I expected. Thoughts about how you're not drinking enough water. Even though you're home so much these days, it should be easier, right? And how much you should be drinking. Thoughts about exercise or lack thereof and how you should be moving your body more. And thoughts about motivation and how you should be more motivated than you are, whatever level of motivation that is. And then there's the other category, thoughts about the future. This kind of thing. I should know what I want already. I should know what I'm passionate about. I should know what I want to do next. I should be better with my time. I should be farther along with my plans than I am. Do these resonate with you? There's way more meanness going on out there for sure, but these are just a few to get us started. So the thing is that thinking about all these shoulds really doesn't serve you. Notice how you feel when you think in shoulds. For example, I should be exercising more. Can you feel it? Do you feel a bit closed down and resistant? Or do you feel opened up and like you're leaning in? If you're like most, this type of thought doesn't help you accomplish your goals. It sounds good, but it doesn't help. And when it comes to feeling stuck, this type of thinking isn't useful at all. Look at this thought, I should be farther along than I am. What that really means is, where I am isn't good enough. Think about that for a minute. It's no wonder it doesn't feel good, right? And this one, I should know what I want to do next. Again, what you're really thinking is that there's something wrong with you. Whatever you're doing or thinking, it's not helping you know more than you know about what you should do next. Again, it's no surprise that you're not feeling good about what you know right now, about what you might like to do next. This is why I think it screams of Mean Girl. Mean girls are known for being nice on the outside, but then expert at being passive aggressive, so much so that it leaves you dazed and confused and even feeling bullied sometimes. This kind of should-oriented self-talk also looks kind of good on paper. Just like a mean girl, they look good on paper. At first glance, it sounds good. Conscientious, maybe. You care about your future. You want to do more. You want more clarity. You want to give more of yourself and continue to grow. And you don't want to have regrets. But my friend, look at how these thoughts make you feel. When you think the thought, I should know what I want to do next, how do you feel? Honestly, how do you feel? My guess is lost or confused or less than, defective, and for sure, stuck. And when you think the thought, I should be farther along than I am, how does that make you feel? Same sort of feelings, right? Or perhaps behind, failing, and again, less than, and stuck. Not great. You bullied yourself and you won. These feelings will not help you move forward. You essentially make it even more difficult for yourself to see through the muck to the other side. This is why the whole should thing helps keep you stuck. It really does. So there are 3 important problems going on here, I think. Here they are. First, you have the power to help yourself more than you know. Emphasis on more than you know. You're not accessing how you can help yourself, though, which is by managing your mind and increasing awareness of your thoughts, learning to see them as outside of yourself rather than a character flaw. Big difference. Okay, second, self-compassion is uncomfortable. If you're like many other women in the middle, you probably find it difficult to give yourself the equivalent of a big virtual hug when you're having trouble finding your way through a problem. You would never treat people the way you treat yourself with these judgments and expectations. You just wouldn't. All right, and third, you probably struggle with believing that you can figure it out yourself from within, that you have the answers but can't see them yet. Now, it's common to go through life responding to this or that, basically waiting to see what happens and what insight will hit you in the head like a lightning bolt, rather than to believe that you create your life and your opportunities. Is pretty much a seismic shift to look at the world this way instead. Mean Girl Central has got to go. So to understand how to get past these shoulds and get unstuck, you have to address each of the related problems. In other words, here are 3 steps for what you should do instead. And I know I'm taking a little liberty here and telling you what you should do, but at least I think you should consider these steps, okay? So step number 1, increase your awareness of what's going on up there in your beautiful brain. Recognize that when you hear that voice in your head telling you what you should be doing, maybe before you go to bed or in the morning, or as you're setting your calendar or talking to a friend, whenever it is for you, remember that you are thinking a subjective thought. Just because you hear it doesn't mean it's just the way it is, or that it's part of your DNA, or that it's even the right thing to do, or the right thing to think. What it does mean is that you have chosen to process information and think about it in a certain way. The outcome of this is that you choose to think these thoughts, even though they don't serve you. There are all kinds of reasons why you might be thinking them, but it doesn't really matter for this exercise. The bottom line is that you should recognize that the should sentiments are subjective. You're putting them into your brain, you're giving them voice, so to speak, and they are making you feel bad. Thoughts create feelings. That negative emotion you're experiencing is coming from something you are doing to yourself. So it's critical to understand that a thought that you're thinking is just a sentence in your mind. Once you see it there, you can choose to think it some more or tweak it accordingly so it creates a different feeling, one that is more useful for your ultimate goal. For example, your thought, I should know what I want to do next, isn't useful. But what do you think of this? I'm learning to figure out what I want to do next. That thought just might be useful. Or I'm having fun thinking about what I want to do next. Again, very different feelings are generated from this kind of thinking, feelings that actually help you to unstick yourself. Step number 2, get more comfortable with being nicer to yourself. Yes, this message is for you. Self-compassion can really be a good thing, something worthy of practicing more in your life. I think you should play with the self-compassion more often and watch yourself respond. Think about how your grandmother would talk to you when you were confused. Think about how you would respond to a kid in your life who talked about not knowing what to do. What would you tell them that they should know? A great question to ask yourself is, what would love do? I love that one now, but when my coach first suggested it to me years ago, I thought it was the weirdest question ever. But when you play with it, your mind just might explode. You start to come up with different kinds of ideas and solutions. What would love do? And step number 3, embrace the idea that you create your life. You don't have to wait. You don't have to always respond. You can decide what you want. You can dream big. You can explore your thoughts and feelings. You can do research. You can ask for meetings with people you want to learn from. You can read books. You can watch YouTube videos. You can take courses. You can get more comfortable with making decisions. You can decide to believe that you know, to believe that you will keep moving forward, to believe that nothing is wasted and that the path you've always been on is valuable now as you're sorting out your next chapter. This is a monumental shift in the way that most women in the middle think about being stuck, and perhaps even at a crossroads. That's exactly what happened to me. I was totally like this. I was desperate for someone to just tell me what to do. About 7 years ago, this happened for me. I was squirming with discomfort and fear at the idea that I needed to make some decisions. So crazy, right? But true. You have more power and insight than you think. You're more capable than you think. You know yourself better than you think. And an idea or thought that is available for you to think is that you should be exactly where you are right now. You should be exactly where you are right now. That's available to you. Notice how it makes you feel. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. That's it for this episode. My focus as a midlife coach is to help you waste less time spinning and feeling stuck, which is exactly what we were talking about. Ways to unstick yourself. It's time to get excited about your life again. Being the queen of your brain domain, it really is the best way to be. So check out the show notes with more information and links at SusieRosenstein.com. Download my free ebook, 9 Secrets to Get Unstuck in Your 50s at www.susierosenstein.com/9 secrets. Want to connect more with me in the future? Join the free Women in the Middle community Facebook group where we continue the podcast conversation. Head over to www.facebook.com/groups/Women in the Middle community. You can also work directly with me and start to make these changes that you keep talking about. Let's focus on you going from being stuck and confused to being crystal clear and excited about your future already, right? Enough wasting time, my friend. Book your free call and let's talk. The 50 Unplugged Mastermind is just what you're looking for. Head over to www.talktosusie.com. Let's do this, ladies. It's time for you to put yourself first, one thought at a time. Thanks so much for listening, and I will talk to you next week.